This microtalk is a part of a mini-series on corporate inversions, also called flips. We encourage you to watch the entire mini-series available on our emerging companies and venture capital resource site, Springboard. Thank you.
In order to arrive at that result, what happens typically is that the foreign corporation has its stockholders and investors exchange their equity interests and other interests in the company for equivalent securities in the Delaware corporation. It's pretty simple if we're talking about a foreign company that has not raised any money and has a nominal capitalization. So the foreign founder stock can be exchanged for Delaware founder stock. The moment the foreign corporation has investors, it becomes a bit more tricky. Typically, if we're talking about unpriced securities or convertibles, the equivalent of convertible notes or safes in the US, those are normally exchanged for equivalent securities issued by the Delaware corporation, meaning safes or convertible notes of with equal economic terms. However, if the foreign company has raised additional capital through priced equity rounds, it becomes a bit more tricky, and a share exchange may not always work due to tax considerations. So in that case, the flip, instead of being a share exchange, is often structured as a so-called domestication or migration, meaning that the foreign company is domesticated into Delaware corporation and it retains its original structure, yet it becomes embodied inside the Delaware corporation under a specific statute that Delaware provides that allows a foreign entity to be migrated into Delaware. Oftentimes, following a domestication, the foreign domesticated entity is liquidated because otherwise you would have a duality of existence of the same so-called legal entity. And then the newly formed domesticated Delaware corporation will establish a foreign subsidiary under which the operations of the foreign company can be replaced and operated. But that's a more rare case involving a situation where a foreign company already had the price round. The majority of the cases that we see, especially with companies about to access accelerator programs in the US or seed capital, involve situations where the foreign company only has raised a seed round with angels or early stage investors. As a result, we don't have to deal with immigration, but a simple share exchange will suffice. Obviously, the share exchange has to be performed in the right way, because if it's not done the right way, there can also be adverse tax consequences. We're not going to be talking anything tax today beyond the scope of this microtalk. I think the takeaway point for today's discussion is simply that if you're a foreign founder, you don't have to ditch your company altogether and set up a brand new Delaware Corp. There is a way in which the foreign company can be placed under the new Delaware entity, and there is a way to preserve the enterprise value as well as to preserve the equity investments in the form of convertibles of those foreign or angel investors, so that you can efficiently raise capital in the US and go to market. As the flip enables the foreign entrepreneur to have a Delaware setup that will enable the company to retain personnel in the form of consultants or employees, set up an advisory board, have an option pool available for all these participants and so forth, as well as enter into commercial agreements with partners or clients or pilot engagements in the US. So there are efficiencies in both setups, and we see this being the prevalent way for foreign companies to organize themselves when they move to the US to raise capital and launch operations. So I hope you found this Microtalk useful. Happy to answer any questions. You'll see our information on the website of Mayer Brown. Another resource that I want to point out today is that we have a website, a portion of website dedicated to startups, where we have posted a set of documents that entrepreneurs can find useful for consultation, as well as to help them quickly organize their corporations if they don't want to go through us. That service is available, and you can consult it at mayerbrown.com. Thank you.